let it rip. Now I'ma let it hit. I'ma come with them with skills, make them wanna quit. Best believe I'm set to win. If you tested me, you better think again. Let it rip. Now I'ma let it hit. I'ma come with them with skills, make them wanna quit. Best believe I'm set to win. If you tested me, you better think again. Every journey begins with one step. Every tournament requires you come equipped. Count down to let it rip. Test your metal at the very highest level. Never settle, be a rebel. Forget the bass, let's kick the treble. The devil is in the details. He who nails it prevails. If he fails, you'll see tails and emails. Heads and tails, it don't matter. This battle is more than a game, more than a sport, more than the fame. It's all in your core. Let it rip. Now I'ma let it hit. I'ma come with them with skills, make them wanna quit. Best believe I'm set to win.
How's it going, everyone? Basically, I wasn't gonna actually make a video tonight, but because I've made some dueling videos for you guys to watch, and I don't want to throw too many videos at you at one time and like overload you. But one of my friends kind of inspired me to make this video, so I figured, you know what? Why not? I'll go ahead and go over what he wanted me to. A lot of the times I tell you I run a 60 card gadget deck because it's the best build. Problem is I never explain that. I always say it's the best, it's the best, it's the best. I never say, you know, why. I mean, I'll explain the cards I use. You know, this does good with this does good with this, but I don't tell you, you know, why I don't play the opposing builds. So I figured, you know what, I'll go ahead and do that and, you know, give you a little bit of insight. The first kind of deck for gadgets, popularly known, is something called Beat Gadget. Now, this is a type of deck that Robbie Cole usually plays. Beat Gadgets are reminiscent of sort of beatdown decks mixed with Gadget. You'll have the gadgets and the gadget support, but you'll also have a lot of beatdown. You'll have like DCK, TKR, Jujus, or you know, Cyber Dragons or stuff like that. It's called Beat Gadgets. It's a very good deck. I mean, it's a very good deck. The only issue I have with it is I don't like contending with beatdowns. Like, if I'm playing gadgets, my idea is to beat them down with tech rather than force. Beatdown gadget is more, you know, hey look, I play Doom Caliber, you know, I'm a 19 beat stick, and if you play any effects, I kill you. Good card, however, it's easily gotten around. DD Crow, Effect Veiler, etc. can just instantly nuke him. TKR is the same way. Great card, stop searching, awesome, but I have, in my opinion, I want different effects that not only stop searching, but stop everything. Kaiku. Kaiku is another staple. Usually it's a side deck staple, but sometimes it's main decked. Not anymore, really, because obviously the format isn't grave-based much anymore, so Kaiku is too slow. But stuff like that is Beat Gadget. I mean, you get the point. The next kind of gadget is what they call Splash Gadget. And Splash Gadget is when you take another type of deck and you splash gadgets into it. Machinas were a very good example of that. It was a gadget deck, but you put Machinas and stuff into it, and it speeds it up, and you get the Machinas effects and discard cards in your opponent's hand. You get all kinds of little bonuses. And this has been done with a lot of decks. It's been done with Scraps. It's been done with Machinas. It's been done with GBs even. I've actually seen GB splash in gadgets. So I mean, that's another kind, and those decks are really good. The only problem is, usually you have to run a bunch of monsters to get both setups off. Like with Machinas, you run 2 of each gadget, which is standard, but then you run the fortresses, you run the gear frames, the forces, the scrap iron, or not the scrap iron, what am I talking about? The scrap recyclers. You end up with a bunch of monsters, and GBs are the same way. You got the gadgets, but then you want GB monsters too. So I mean, those are called Splash Gadget, and they're okay. Like, I hate Splash Gadget decks just because pure Gadget is so much better in my opinion. I mean, I don't like Splash Gadget. 2 different engines running with each other is not bad necessarily, but when it's gadgets and something else, then I think it's bad. I always thought of gadgets as sort of anti-meta and anti-summon. A lot of these new decks, especially Beat Gadget, run cards like Call of the Haunted, Monster Reborn, whatever. You can think of a bunch of special summon cards. As you can see from my deck, I'm completely against special summoning. I don't like special summoning. Gores and Trag, kind of, because, I'm willing to. Monster Reborn and Call, I was testing them. I didn't like Call, so I took it out. Reborn's still in, but that's debatable because Reborn just doesn't get me too much use. I usually use it on a gadget. But I don't like stuff like that. Just because it just doesn't seem to work out for me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've play tested these kind of things and they just don't work out for me. Let's see. What's the other one I wanted to touch on? You got Splash Gadget, Beat Gadget. I'm gonna talk about my kind of deck last. Splash, Beat. I don't remember what you call those. I don't remember what the name is for them. But basically, you ever seen those gadget decks that are gadgets but they're not? They're gadgets but they have a bunch of tech that shouldn't be in there, Raikos and hamsters and crap like that. I don't remember what the name of them are. I call them fuzzy gadgets because they're just... It doesn't seem like there's a point to the deck. I mean, I know there is, but it just doesn't seem that way. They usually run stuff like Krebons and Psychic Commander, and they synchro and do all kinds of weird crap. Again, not a bad deck. I just don't think it's the best build. The problem I have with that build is it's just, again, too many monsters. You have the Psychics that you need to synchro with. You've got your gadgets. You've got the hamster, the Raiko, just all kinds of monsters, and I don't like that many monsters. My gadget is what you call an anti-gadget. It's just anti-everything. It's anti-summons, it's anti-attack, it's everything. Anti-summoning, or anti-special summoning. It just is meant to kill everything and basically make you lose advantage really fast. Now, these decks are, I'd say, fairly common. Beat Gadget and Oppression Gadget are the two most common. Oppression Gadget has done really well for a long time because players have learned to use their Oppression and their Fossil Dinos really well. And once you play Oppression or Fossil Dino, as long as you can protect it, it's pretty much game. So that's what this deck is, and we got Summoning Curse and everything else now. But the main part of this is, everyone asks me, why is it... This is the number one question I get no matter what. If I'm doing deck videos, if I'm at a tournament, if I'm doing anything. Why is it that big? Why is it 60 cards? And that's a fair question. That is a fair question. Why 60? When I was building this deck, this precise one, like 4 years ago or whatever, and I was thinking, everyone runs around with 45 gadgets. This is back when 9 gadgets was running around. Everyone has 45 card gadgets. I played the 45 gadget. It was good. It was a pretty good build. Only issue I kept getting was lots of gadgets. And I didn't like that. I was like, drawing that many gadgets? Not that fun. So I was trying to think of how can I reduce that. Now, at the time you could build up to a 100 card deck, which I actually did. This at one point was 100 cards. Imagine that. But after they get limited to 60 cards, I put it at 60. And if you're thinking, did he really fucking put it at 100? Yes, I did. I had 3 Wild Hearts, I had 3 Tenkabitos, and I had 3 Winged Rhinos with ungodly loads of traps in here. Needle Ceilings, Torrentials, all that. Remember, Torrential was at 3, Needle Ceiling was at 3. I could run all that and go crazy. But that was long ago, like 2 years. When they put it to 60, I started thinking, okay, I want a gadget deck. I want it to have a few certain cards automatically. And those cards were, obviously, my 9 gadgets. Go ahead and get these out real quick. Sorry. Oh, there we go. Sorry. Those cards were the 9 gadgets, obviously. 9 gadge, hence the name. And 3 fossils. Those were mandatories for the monsters. There was no question about it. I wanted those in my monsters. So I got them. I put them in there. And then I was thinking, what else can I put in here for monsters that would help me and that would support me? And through playtesting and a little bit of advice from friends, I found Cyber Phoenix. Now, Cyber Phoenix is amazing. He's a 1200 that prevents any of your machines from being targeted. And at the exact same time, if he dies by battle, he pluses even more. He pluses because I draw cards off of him. How can you plus more than that? It's not possible, in my opinion. 1200 that stops anything that targets, and then I plus when I draw off when he gets killed by battle. So he was a no doubt. Put him in there. That's 18 right there. That's 18 monsters. Now, most people say, okay, that's good for a 40. 18 monsters, Gadget's 45 card deck, yeah? I was thinking, yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. Let's go on to magics. What magics must I have? Well, of course, I was a big fan of Shrink, because Shrink is amazing. So I put 3 Shrink in there. And then, this wasn't out back then, but Summoning Curse. How can you play a Oppression Gadget without Summoning Curse? I mean, it's basically your Oppressions that got put back into your deck, or they got limited. So 3 Summoning Curse. Okay, that's in the deck. But what about Book of Moon? Now, Book of Moon is an amazing card, and I've got to play it because Book of Moon is game-winning, I mean, it really is. But then don't forget Smashing Grounds. Smashing Grounds are amazing. I mean, they just simply are. And then, slowly you're like, well, I've still got Fissures I need in here. I want some Shield Crush to kill defense monsters, so I'll put some of those in there. Dark Hole, let's put that in there. Let's go and just toss some of those in there. That's pretty cool. Let's put 1 Nobleman, just 1. Not very much. And you're thinking, okay, I got a good amount of cards here. And just from spells and monsters, I have 40. Sorry, 37. 37 from just spells and monsters. That's not even including traps. That's not including traps. And Deep Prison, Bottomless, Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, Oppression. These are all mandatories. So once I put everything in here, it was like a 50 card deck. And I was like, you know what? For 10 more cards, I get even more options and I can stop even more decks. So I put 10 more in here. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's not bad, but it's still a bad idea. I disagree. A 60 card deck is actually not that much harder to go through than a 40, especially with a gadget deck. Especially when every gadget I have searches. Cyber Phoenix lets me draw, which goes through my deck faster. And, if I had dualities, which, I wish I did, but if I don't right now, but if I had dualities, I would go through my deck even faster. So really, empirically, your 40 card deck is not going to be faster than my 60. It may be slightly faster because you have less cards, but I have more text to stop you than a normal gadget deck would. So in the end, even though I have a bigger deck, it'll still balance out. And that's what he wanted me to explain, because he actually asked me this and I explained this to him just like I did now. And he's like, "Oh, dang, you're right. That makes sense." So I figured I'd make a video explaining it. And that's the breakdown of why I play my deck the way I play it. If you guys have any questions or like these kind of videos, I can make more. Just give me a subject to make them on. Catch you later.